You don't have to be a Python expert in order to analyze data. In next 5 minutes, we are going to write our first Python program, and by the end, Python will calculate a real business metric for us. So as you can see on the screen, this is the Jupyter that we are using, and I'm using it with the help of a Colab, Google Colab, right? So it gives me the opportunity that I don't have to download any software. I can simply do what? I can simply use it and store my files on the drive as well as and I just have to write. I don't have to install. I don't have to worry about the files keeping in my system. This is why this is an online platform which is available that we can use. So what we are going to build? Imagine you are a data analyst and your manager asks that we sold 10 laptops and 50,000 each, the price. What's our revenue? You can calculate it manually, yes, or you can let Python do it. That's our first program. So let's Python calculate it. So the number of units sold is equal to 10 and the price at which we sold is 50,000, right? So what we want to do? We want to calculate the revenue, which will be units multiplied by the price. And then we are going to do what? We are going to print the revenue, and you see it has calculated that. We have got our output. But what is the thing that we have done here? In order to perform a simple calculation, you see we have created a variable with the name units and assigned a value 10 using equals to operator. We have created another variable price using assignment operator equals to and assigned 50,000 to it. And in order to calculate the total revenue, we have used the multiplication operator. We multiplied the number of units with the price and stored in a variable named as revenue, and we passed it to the print function in order to print that. So think of a variable as a labeled box where Python store information. So Python takes two values, multiplies them and store the answer within revenue. But Python won't automatically shows us everything. That is the reason we use print function to show the result. But here if you see that if I'll print it, it's just a value that I'm printing. For others, they might not be able to understand because as a software, we don't get the access as a user to assess that what's written in the software. For example, we talk about calculator, right? We can just use it with the options available to us. But what is the code which is written for that? We don't have access to that. So with this we have calculated, but it is also very important that how we present. So I would like to add one more thing here as another parameter which I'm going to pass in the print function is to write here total revenue. And you notice one thing, the variable which is printing the value of revenue, I put it without double quotes, and the string which I have used in order to show total revenue is in the double quotes. That means print function, whatever the data is being within these quotes will print exactly same. But whatever I'm going to print it without double quotes is going to print the value of that. It was able to print the value because we already have created the variable. But what if that the variable was not created? Let's suppose I'll just here is sold. See, we got an error that sold is not defined. We have already defined the variable revenue. But one more interesting thing here. Do we need to declare the variable? Like, did I declare that what is the data I want to store in the variable units? No. It will automatically take as the data. We only define in the Python. You want to check that? We use type function in order to check the type of the units. We say it's integer. You want to check the type of the price? You see here, we use integer, right? I have not declared it. I've just defined it and it automatically takes the data type of the variable, depends upon the data we are storing in that, right? So this is very interesting with respect to Python. And it is also very important to communicate the result. Now let's do some changes here, right? And make the program a bit more interesting, because with this, it can only do one thing. It can only calculate the revenue when total number of units sold are 10 and price equal to 50,000. But think about it, a calculator which can be assessed by multiple users. Is that calculator allowed to have only one input? No. A generalized software which has been used or which was created, that can be assessed by the multiple users and can accept any input data. And that is what we want to do, right? So we want Python, that program, to take the input data from the user. And for that, in Python, what we do? Yes, we use a input function in which we write just the code that enter the total number of units so that it will display on the screen. And let's suppose I'll do that. I enter 30. If I check the type of this units, so by default, if I use input function, by default, it consider it as a string data type, whatever the data I enter. Now you will be a bit confused that how 30 is a string. Yes, 30 can be a string. Anything which is in double quotes, that can be some number also, right? If I print it, the units, you check it, 30 it is printing, but of type string. Can I do anything to make it integer? Yes, we call it as typecasting, in which whatever the input data I will get, I'll convert into integer. Yes, because it was a 10 inside the double quotes or a string, right? So we can, yes, definitely can convert it. But if it would be written the name of someone and that I will be converting into a something that I will be converting into the integer, that's not possible, right? So price, what I want, again I want integer input, and what I want, enter the price, and I will say calculate the revenue, which will be equal to units multiplied by the price, and will print this total. Now it will ask, so I want to enter 35 units, I want to enter the price is 40,000, and that's how it calculate the revenue, right? So input allows the user to enter information, integer converts the input to a whole number, right? And that's how we can get the result, right? So now it's your turn. You can pause this video here and you can calculate it for 15 phones at 20,000 price each. You calculate the total revenue, right? Okay. So we just wrote our first Python program for data analytics, but here's the problem. Real data does not come as two variables. It comes as thousands of rows and dozen of columns, right? And that's why, and that's when Python start becoming a real data analytics tool, because we need to work with the real data sets, right? That will work in the future, okay, videos. So that's it from my side, and follow my Indic side for more videos.